Right. There we go. Hello. Not
Hello,
bad. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm pretty well, pretty good, pretty well. Thank you. Um I can't believe it's Friday again. I
I
feel
know, yeah,
the weeks are shooting by, aren't they?
they are. I'm currently at the minute, as you probably noticed, my interesting backdrop there.
Yeah.
My little kids are on a PD day from school, so they're off. So I've got one in the bedroom next door and one's watching telly downstairs.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
it's been a hectic morning, if I'm honest. So I thought, right, I'll have to come because John's been on nights. Our bedroom's downstairs, so I
Yeah.
can't do this in the kitchen because my
Yeah.
big gob will wake him up. So I've had to I've had to go into Corbin's bedroom and yeah, I'm kind of trapped in here, but something really interesting happened this morning.
All right. Go on then. Let's hear it.
I was on a call to my sister
Right.
and John had come in from work and gone to bed. Then I realised that I probably won't be able to get ready today because my clothes are in the bedroom.
Right.
And last night I'd gone to sleep in my pajama bottoms and a t-shirt, right? Now I was on the phone to her and then I heard the bin men come and I was like, oh shit, I haven't put my bins out. So I was like, oh no, I've got pajamas on. So I said to her, 2 minutes, Kay, I'm gonna have to go put my bins out really quickly. So I flew down the stairs with my phone in my hand, went outside, and the bin men are like parked at the side of my garden. I went, oh, like that. And he looked at me and he said, oh, I put your blue bins out. He said, I'm gonna go around the block and I'm gonna come back. So I'll get them on the way back. I went, oh, thank you so much. So I'm running, I've got no shoes on, got my dogs out. I'm grabbing these bins, dragging them out the garden. And then I realised that not only did I have my pajama bottoms on, but I had the t-shirt on that said, buy my art.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not
The
fit
only
for OnlyFans. And I was like, oh God, it could have got any worse. There's me stood there with no shoes on, bloody t-shirt that said that, and I'm running down the garden path dragging my bins out. Yeah,
uh, people go to the supermarket dressed less dressed up than that these days, so
they do.
they'll
They
have
do,
seen a
yeah.
lot worse.
They've probably seen much worse than that. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Still, yeah, so not an ideal start to the day. Can only get better from there, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it gave me a bit of a laugh. I did come in and go, oh
Yeah.
God.
Um, what I was going to say, yeah, you, something popped in my head that I was going to say as you were saying that, and I try to, there's a thing like with listening. Like I've done a lot of stuff with my work over the years. I talk about communication and communicating effectively, and I deliver a lot of workshops and things like that, and they talk about kind of listening skills, and one of them is about listening and not thinking how you're going to answer. And
Yeah.
my brain just things pop up, pop up, pop up. And I try really hard to stay in the thing. And then, but at my age, they're coming me out and then they're gone. So I'm like caught in that. If I don't think about it, it's just gone. But yeah, anyway. Um,
I do the same thing. I do that all the time.
but yeah, to say about my age, it was my birthday last week and went
The
to,
21st,
say again, sorry?
21st birthday.
Yeah, yeah, plus 30, yeah, plus 30, bloody hell. Which is really weird. And that, I mean, saying about the time passing by, because last year was a big birthday, it's
Mm.
really kind of highlighted how quick this year has gone. Like, I cannot believe it was my 50th was a year ago. Honestly, it's like it
I
just
know.
feels like a couple of months. And it was really nice. We went, me and my partner were down in had a few days away, and we went to Windsor Castle.
All
And
right.
what a beautiful place Windsor is, and it's even though it was really busy with tourists, it's like it has a really kind of calm, quiet feel about the place. Um, which was yeah, really nice. Funny how places have a certain energy. I don't know if you've ever been to New York, and
No, I've not been to New York.
like it just struck me there's an energy there. It's weird. It's like it's just a feel you get from being there. It's like it's really alive. Don't know, weird, but anyway, but yeah, with Windsor, it's like the opposite. It's like really quiet. But anyway, we were going through the castle, and They've got all the old, it's all massive old style paintings and your portraits that they have.
Oh, yeah.
And while appreciating the technical skill, they're not for me at all, you know what I mean? Like that old
No,
style of portrait. Say again, sorry?
so you're not really into like the old master style painting then?
Well, I can appreciate it, but it just doesn't. I don't know, like some of them look freaky as I mean, like demon children. You're like flipping heck. I wouldn't want that one up on the wall. Like,
See, I'm
when,
weird. I probably would want that one on my wall.
but when it's like in the, like next to a bed and something, I flipping heck. I wouldn't like to wake up and see that. It looks like someone's going to try to murder you or something. Um, but it's really, I mean, seeing the size and the scale of all the works, and you're just thinking like how much it must
Yeah,
all be worth. And obviously they didn't have, um, it's obvious, but cameras and all the things that we do that help us to, it's all have to kind of done out of their imagination or life or, yeah,
yeah. It's still life work, isn't it? A lot
yeah,
of them.
yeah. But it's interesting how like the style they had of capturing faces, like some of the babies in particular, like I really hope your baby didn't look like that. Bloody hell. It's like,
Have you noticed though something about them paintings? Like, so say it's like a group painting of lots. It could be like a religious scene or
yeah, yeah,
something like
yeah.
that,
Yeah, there was
and
lots
they've
of
got like
them.
lots of people. Have you noticed that the faces look very similar in the painting? They don't tend to have like
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
individuality.
yeah,
They're kind of very like, all the faces, like the men and the women, they all have the similar sort of face.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's-
Well, there is quite an effeminate looking
Yes, it
about
is.
them, don't they? Yeah,
Yeah, and the noses are always pretty small, and but the thing is a lot of people when they would like commission them sort of paintings back then, it must have been something that they wanted to have it like because I
yeah,
know they
yeah,
used to change features, didn't they, on paintings? So if you had a very big nose, for instance, and you didn't want it that big on your painting, people would paint it a bit smaller. But personally, if I was like living in back in them days, I'd want them to put my little pig nose in because at the end of the day, that's how I look. That's what I look. And
well,
I don't want people in the future thinking I had this pointy nose.
well,
Not true to life, then, is it?
no, it's not. And I mean, I always like people's individuality, and when I'm
Yeah,
painting somebody, I want to capture them as they are, and that saying when you say that about changing things, it's almost like a filtering, like we have
yeah,
nowadays. You're just sticking
yeah,
a
it is.
shoe over it or a pair of bunny ears over your ears or something. But yeah, but no, it's like it's funny, like in terms of how you paint people. So I've been painting mainly commissions over the last few weeks.
Yeah, I
Um,
noticed you doing little commissions.
yeah, and
Great.
sometimes it looks as though I'm not doing much because obviously you don't post that until the
Yeah.
person's received it. Um, but yeah, I've been getting quite a few requests, which is really good. But one of them I did, so it was my partner's birthday as well last week. So I painted her as one of her gifts,
I
and
love that painting, by the way. You really, really captured it. It looks
thank
just
you.
like
Well, I was
really
like,
beautiful.
happy with it, and to be honest, I'd wanted to paint it for a while because
Yeah.
hair, I like red hair. I love using reds and
She's
yellows and oranges,
yeah,
and got really striking hair, and obviously,
she's got gorgeous hair. I'm
yeah,
shouting over you, but I need to say she's got such gorgeous hair.
she
Her
has.
hair's beautiful.
And I also say eyes and smile are always the main features that attract me to a person. And in terms of a partner, we've said this before, getting them right is a big
Yeah.
thing. It's a really nice smile and very blue eyes and all this. So anyway, I was really pleased with how it turned out. But I was telling a friend that I was doing it, and she said, "Oh, that's a lot of pressure, that." And I'm like,
Mm.
but I don't. It's funny, isn't it? Because like I don't feel like pressure on painting something because I don't know. I just think, and I don't know if you're the same, but whatever people think and how good they are, I just think I can. I can paint anyone. Someone say, "Can you paint this person, that person?" Just well, yeah. But I
Yeah.
thought when it's a commission, it's whether they're going to see it, whether they're going to be happy with it. and that, and or in this
That's
case,
the
not
pressure.
commission, or a gift, and that's it. And
Yeah.
I didn't want to, like, it's, I remember we talk with my friends almost like that. Um, that you're gonna have to be really flattering. I mean, not like I say, it's not hard to do with Mel anyway. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I've never thought that. You paint what you see, and
Yeah.
um, yeah. But I mean, there's always that, and with a commission, like every time that will they like it, and um,
There's lots of different ways to look at that actually, right? Because I've painted a woman before as a commission. Like I drew a woman, sorry, I didn't paint her. And sent an image to the person who's buying it. And they were like, "Oh, it looks so much like her. It's brilliant. But is there any way you can kind of make her wrinkles a bit softer and like not really there?" And I was like, "Oh,
hey,
bloody hell, man." So I was like, okay. So I had to get the rubber out and start like just lifting a bit of my pencil. But I'm thinking to myself, that's what they look like on the picture.
yeah,
They should have airbrushed the picture before they sent it to me. Would have made my job a lot easier. But so some people are quite like that. But then other times you can go softer on things like wrinkles. And I remember I've done an oil paint, and this is very, very, very early work as well, this one. And the lady who they sent me the picture of, she was very, very red in the face, like her cheeks were
yeah,
really red. And I'd painted her and I gave it to them. And they asked me to take it back and make her cheeks more red because
right,
I'd tried to do it a bit more subtle,
yeah, yeah,
thinking they might not have wanted it so red.
yeah,
But because that was her and that's what she looked like, they asked me to add that part in. So
yeah,
it can go either way. But I think it is very difficult sometimes to draw somebody who's really close to you
yeah,
because I feel as though you're more critical of yourself because you know what that person looks like, every angle of the face, and you see them all the time. And I think when you look at a painting or a drawing and you've been looking at it, I know we've discussed this
yeah,
before,
yeah.
but you've
Really
looked at
looking,
it for so long,
yeah,
it becomes where you can't tell where you're going wrong. And
yeah,
when you look at
definitely,
a person who's really close to you, it can have a similar effect when you're
yeah,
drawing them, I
yeah.
feel.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah, yeah. That, yeah, you do completely lose objectivity. And I always say this about
Yeah,
how it surprises me sometimes which paintings I do that get the response, the response. Like when someone says, "Oh, I think that's one of your best," and like really? Like the certain ones, like one I did recently, and a few people said it, and I was like, "All right, I wouldn't." And I'm thinking, will he like this? And it's
yeah.
so it's the one the psychologist I did because it's
Oh,
you,
is that the one with the yellows and the oranges in the
yeah,
background?
yeah.
Oh, that was a
So
beautiful piece. That.
the reference photo was an illustration. It wasn't a
Ah, right.
photograph.
Yeah,
So, and that was one of the things that really, um, when I was asked to do it, I really wanted to do it for that reason because there was a lot of different color in there, and
yeah.
and I thought it'd fit my style well.
It really
Yeah,
does. Really fits your style.
well, yeah, in the background, it was nice to have that opportunity to just kind of play with it a bit. But it's interesting as well. One of the things, I'm going off on a tangent, but I know we've talked
You
about
like
this.
tangents.
Yeah, talked about this before in terms of kind of feedback and stuff. And I saw something on um it was Threads, I think, one of the social media things. Anyway, and it was a guy who he said he was an art. Can't remember whether he was like a curator or teacher. But anyway, he had some role within professional art, and he said, anyone post a piece of your work, and give you, I'll tell you something that can take it to a level up. I thought that'd be interesting. I wonder what he'd say, so I put one of mine in, and I can't remember which one I sent, but he said that it was just like one sentence, and he said that with a portrait, putting a person in a place takes it to the next level.
Yeah,
And and it was interesting here, but then I thought, well, because I always keep a plain background, and because my reason is I want the focus to be on
yeah,
person, and even like the the clothing, or I mean particularly ears that I don't pay much attention to because
yeah.
and that's, I think, part of become part of my style. Really, I'm kind of much looser around those
Yeah,
bits, but I really want to get the face. But it's just interesting, and again, that thing about how subjective it is, and I'm always interested. It's easy to judge what someone's doing. From my career working in sport, coaches, so I say, oh, I don't know I'm not sure about what they're doing, or I don't like that, or that's wrong. It's like, well, it depends what they're trying to do. Like, if you don't know the
exactly.
purpose of that, then how
Yeah.
can you say it's wrong? So without understanding what the artist's intent is,
Mm.
it's just subjective, isn't it?
It's kind of difficult because, like, obviously that person made that thread because they were trying to offer advice to
Oh
artists on
yeah,
what, but very kind of him to do that. A very interesting
yeah, it was good. Yeah,
thought as well, actually. But I suppose when you think about it, I could say to you, this would make your work better. You should do it like this. You should do it like that. But it's not your work. It's not my
yeah, yeah,
work, sorry.
yeah,
It's your work and it's your decision. I mean, I've seen a comment recently on somebody's artwork and they were getting criticised about stuff that they hadn't got right on this picture. And as soon as I seen it, I just thought, I thought, right, I'm going to read the heading because has this person asked
yeah,
for
yeah, yeah,
advice? Have they said, can anyone tell me where I've gone wrong
yeah,
here?
yeah,
So I went to press see more and read the heading and everything. And I just thought that person didn't ask for any kind of critique in any way, shape, or form. So the fact that somebody's just scrolled down and thought, oh, I know, I'll tell them it's bad
yeah,
because they haven't got this right. I just find that honestly, one, it's rude. One,
yeah,
it's quite, to me, it's quite astonishing somebody would actually go to that level and think they need my advice.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I understand sometimes it can be like said from a good place that they just want to help you improve. But I do believe in that when somebody wants to offer something like that, in the way I feel about it anyway, I think like, let's say you've done something and I thought I can see something wrong with that. So if I send you a message or I could leave a comment and say, I've got some tips for you to help improve it if you would like them.
yeah.
Or I've noticed something I think might be helpful for you. Would you like my advice on that?
That's a good
And
one.
then the artist has the option to say,
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
actually,
yeah,
yes, that's really kind to that person.
yeah,
They're helping me.
yeah,
Um, but when people are just like, that's wrong with it and that's not right, I just find that so damn right rude. Like, what gives you
yeah,
the right to comment your thoughts on somebody? I mean, I know we've discussed this before, but if I post a piece of my work, that's because I'm happy
yeah,
with it.
exactly. Yeah,
Unless I'm saying, can somebody help me here? Can someone
yeah,
offer me
yeah,
some advice? So
yeah,
the fact that person posted that work was very clear that that person was happy with their piece.
yeah,
And so I just think some people just don't, they're not very considerate in the things that they leave on people's artwork because I did think to myself, if that was said to me years ago, that would have upset me and I would have
yeah,
been,
yeah,
to be honest, I'd have probably got upset and lost interest in that piece. I'd have shot it to one side. I
yeah,
wanted
yeah,
to do any more work on it. But the fact is now because I've been doing it so long now, and I've had so many comments over the years. A lot of them can be very hurtful. I think you kind of grow a thicker skin to it,
yeah,
and it kind of just bounces off because it's what you expect now, even though you shouldn't have to.
yeah. And I suppose as well, we're always, in anything we do, if you do it a lot, you should be always kind of, you're learning, you're developing, practicing.
Yeah,
And I do think it is important, like you say there, that when someone asks for help or when it's offered and the person's
yeah,
an opportunity, I think that is the bet and particularly with a stranger, bloody hell. Uh,
yeah. No, exactly.
yeah,
And they might have wanted it to look that way. I
yeah,
mean, art's
exactly.
subjective. If I, let's say, done a face and the eyes were really, really massive, right? Someone might say, well, the eyes are a bit big on there. But at the end of the day, that's how I've intended that to look,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
they wouldn't have been drawn in that way.
yeah.
And I just think it's so easy to criticize people sometimes. I mean, don't get me wrong, I have lots of lovely people, as do you, on your page, and they do
Ah,
leave a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
nice
Oh, yeah.
feedback. I think it's them people that outweigh the
Oh,
handful of people that
definitely.
aren't so nice.
Yeah. And I think as well, like, because I look back now I look at paintings I did, say, a year ago,
Mm.
and you know, I I think you see how you've really improved. And it's like if you were criticized at that time, you told, oh well, it's not, it's not this, it's not that, it could be better here. I don't know, it would like it it knocks you, doesn't it? And like I
Yeah,
think,
it does.
and I think I know just generally. See, I don't know. There's something about my kind of personality. I've never been great at kind of taking uh taking that unsolicited advice. Definitely
Yeah.
not. But I've always been one that I don't know. I have a natural kind of bristle to being well, any perceived criticism. I am quite like
You
sensitive to
shouldn't
that.
you
And
shouldn't have to though. That's the thing. You shouldn't have to
yeah,
receive criticism. Like Pete, like I said, people don't know how you're intending on your work to look. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
And it's just so rude that people think. I mean, they might think they're being helpful, but really, they're not being helpful. What they're doing is they're saying something that they think's helpful to you, but really it knocks you down, and it's really
yeah.
not helpful at all. It really isn't.
Putting it in another context to do with the work
Mm.
I do, I'm kind of working with someone that, and that has kind of pushed me really in terms of, lead me to question certain things and ways of doing things, and not
Yeah,
in a kind of bad or negative way at all. It's all about about looking to improve and do better, and that's, and I suppose that one of the things that's really taught me. I mean, because the person in question is someone I really trust, and I know that his only interest is doing as well as possible.
yeah,
So, but even then, and I feel sorry from sometimes because my first instinct is usually to see things, to take them as a criticism, or to think it's somehow saying, "Oh yeah," or dismissing it's not good enough kind of thing, when that's not
yeah,
the intent. And I know that's an issue with me, but but because we have that, the nature of that relationship where he kind of knows where I'm like, and we have that trust that ultimately we're both aiming for the same thing. It
yeah,
works, and I find that I often go away and realize he's right, and or I'll find myself, I'll have adapted or changed a bit, and I'll realize it's because of something that's been said, and it hasn't even been a conscious thing from me. I just and but it is that the you particularly when it's something you're close to. And I think the thing when you're expressing yourself through art, when you put your something out there publicly, you say that it's because you're happy with it, and
yeah,
it's a piece of you, and so
yeah.
it's. I think that does make you particularly sensitive to any. It
It makes you vulnerable. It's
yeah,
like you because you're posting it publicly, it's like people just assume that it's an invite to say what the hell you want. But
yeah,
really, I'm not being funny, right? But I was gonna say if someone posted a picture of themselves and other people were like picking faults, but people do that too. So
well,
that's
yeah, yeah,
probably
yeah,
a
yeah,
very bad example. But that's what I mean. People do it regardless of what you're posting.
yeah,
Um, and it can be a very personal kick in the teeth. It can be. And I just think a lot of people that give these comments as well, weirdly enough, I've noticed, are artists themselves.
yeah. Should know better.
And
Yeah,
you think, yeah, they should know better. They should know, if somebody's starting out,
yeah,
you know, unless you know that person well enough to feel like you can tell them that and maybe say it privately,
yeah,
because it's quite humiliating, really, isn't it, when somebody
yeah,
writes something in
yeah.
your work and
Oh,
then everyone else can see it. It is
yeah.
quite humiliating. I think maybe say it privately in a nice way could be more helpful,
Yeah.
really.
Because the thing is, like, and say from an artist's point of view, to make that comment, like, sure, the important thing is that someone wants to create and put stuff out there. That's a really good thing. Why would you want to knock someone? And that's it. I think, you do get the sense, where there's a genuine intention to help someone is one thing, but often I don't know, it can come across as someone being show-offy, like I can, I know more than you. I can tell you that you need to do this, that, and the other. But say we're all at different stages, and
That's true. Everyone's at their own little stage.
sometimes,
Everyone, no two people can create in the very same way.
yeah,
And if you did, and then you're not exactly original in what you're doing. So it's this. You can take tips from people. You can get some advice if you're asking for it, that is.
yeah,
But you've still got to put your own swing on things. And at the end of
yeah,
the
yeah,
day, people create in their own way. And how does that person know that that wasn't intended on that piece for whatever
yeah,
reason? There could be a reason as to why that's been painted in that way, and that's
yeah,
the whole
yeah.
point of the drawing or the painting. I
Can
think
I?
it's very important to be mindful.
Yeah. Well, on that, right? So
Yeah,
kind of a slight kind of turn left. But are there any pieces you've painted, or I say painted? I mean, you use lots of different mediums, so created that you
yeah,
hate now.
that I hate.
Yeah, that you really dislike, or either you
Yeah,
don't think it's any good, or just for different reasons, you just really
yeah,
dislike them.
there is actually. So
You
I
don't have to say
did.
which one if you don't want to, but I'm just
No,
curious.
no, it's fine. I'm just hoping that I haven't got my pajama bottoms in the picture because
Yeah.
I had to get ready from the waist up for this. Luckily, I had the t-shirt hanging around in my little clothes pile, so I had something to shot on. But yeah. So I did a drawing for one of the kids, and it's a massive piece, so like I think it's A1. Yeah, it's a
Right.
big A1 piece, and it's all pencil, and it's a drawing of Liam Gallagher,
All right.
and I just hate it so much. I just every time I look at it, I can't bear it. Like I wish it would just vanish out the house. I just don't. I feel as though I didn't quite capture him very well, but at the same time, I was using charcoal powder for it as well,
Right.
and I accidentally knocked it over onto the background. And when I tried to rub it out, because I'd bought this different paper that I wasn't used to using, because it was obviously a big piece,
Yeah, yeah.
I couldn't rub the bloody stuff off. So I had this big smudge in the background. So then I was like, frigging
Oh,
great. So then I had to then put the smudge all in the background so that it didn't
yeah,
look
yeah.
like it was an accident. And yeah, I mean, when I first did it, I was quite happy with it. But when I see it now lingering around the house and, I keep moving it to different spots,
Well, it's
it's just
fun-
one of them where I think I might roll it up and put it in storage.
but it's funny, isn't it? Like how you can develop a real dislike for something like
Yeah,
that. There's been a couple of mine where it's like I just hate seeing them. Just hate seeing them.
yeah, same with that one.
Yeah, it's but again, it's like at the time, at the time, obviously you saw something in it, but also it's
Yeah.
interesting as well when going back to what other people have said. When people have complimented it, and then you're like, "Was it just being nice?"
Oh yeah, people were complimenting mine, and like, I mean, I wouldn't look at it and say it's shockingly bad, but I look at it and think he blends in too much with the background for a start. I don't think I quite captured him so well. But do you know what? It's in a way, these are the most important pieces, I think,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah.
because the very early ones are the ones where I mean, I'd done a painting when I first tried oil paints. Oh my God, I made my step like a bunch of ferrets. Honestly, right? I painted them. It's so thick that the faces almost look like. I look at the time, I thought it was amazing. Even like their mum was like, "Oh wow, that's." And I look back and I think, God, she must have thought, what did she do? But yeah, it's one of them where these are the ones that actually are more important because they're the pieces that got you where you are today.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's it. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. It's funny because like the two. I don't want to say which ones there were, um, but the two for me are two that I've done another version of the people in question.
Right.
Um, but that's the thing. It kind of inspired me to do that, and it's been a good way of seeing how I've kind of developed. But also, it's interesting
Yeah,
because and from doing that, it's made me think, well, are the other ones that I did like a year ago that I'd want to do again? And it's funny because one of them is one I did of Nick Cave. It was only about maybe the fourth or fifth one that I did, and I'm a much better painter now. But when I look at
yeah,
it, so I thought, I'll do him again. But then I look at it and I think I've got a good likeness of him, but let's say I'm nowhere near the blending and the use of color just isn't anywhere near, what I'm able to do now. But I actually like that. It's funny. So that being
yeah.
a very early one, I think that really works well for him as a kind of older guy. He's quite pale and all this. I think it works well for it. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, and I think it is good being able to see your progress. And there's always something in there. That's it. There was obviously enough in them, and there's something in them that that you have done well, and it's you're always building on that, aren't you, and developing.
Yeah. I think as well, sometimes you can get like attached to the most unusual piece, like one that you think, well, it's not even special, but I really love it. And
Yeah,
I've got like, you've probably seen him lingering around on Facebook, like he sits around in the background a lot, but it's it's a little man that I made. And weirdly enough, I did start it off thinking I'm gonna make this look very realistic. He's gonna have like features. Um, but I started off with like a very plain looking out, not an outline, but like a just looking like it's got arms, no fingers on it, it's just a round face, like a head. Nothing like where he's got features. And I tried it out because I'd made this like homemade clay stuff from like
oh
toilet
yeah,
roll and PVA glue and like wall filler.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
All mixed up, blended in, used the hand blender to get it all swished up together. And then I just sort of, it was a weird texture. It had lumps in it, and I just slapped it on. And then all of a sudden, this little man appeared, right? And I thought, oh, what I'll do is I'll leave him to dry, and then I'll sand it so I can kind of give it shape and make it more, and carve it.
yeah,
When he dried, I came back to him, and there he was sitting on the edge because I made it so he's flat and his legs come over the edge of the table.
yeah.
And I looked at him and thought, oh, I love him like that. I'm not going to change him. And then I was like, I'm going to name you Cuthbert. So now he's a little Cuthbert that just sits around the house.
I love that. I love that as well. Like that. I don't know. Yeah, I suppose is it like the Bob Ross happy accident thing? Where you just
Well, yeah,
where you just know that, yeah, that's how I want it. That's without, and I suppose without any kind of real plan. I really like that, and say that's very different to that's like say your
yeah.
range of things that the way you express yourself in so many different ways, and that's always something I think it's really
I
fascinating,
think
because you never know what you're going to create next.
what's going to fly off my page.
Yeah,
And well, weirdly enough, as well as I took it in, I thought to myself, if I just photographed him just sat on the worktop or something, kind of doesn't give him the background he deserves, that feeling.
yeah,
So I sneaked out into the back garden. It was probably about 8 o'clock at night, and our garden's got like a step up. So I just sat him on the edge there, and I had the street light behind him, and it gave this really like it set the scene. So there's little Cuthbert sitting there. I made a little love heart as well, and it sits on his knee, but I don't often have it on there. I think he looks better without it, and it's just sat there. And I took this photograph of him, and he just looks so lonely sitting in the dark on his own. I know it sounds so stupid, but I just felt it really went
I
so
think
well.
I've
Like,
seen that picture.
yeah, I've posted it on my page a few
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
I, I tell a little funny story about how Cuthbert became. Do you know what, Matthew?
What?
What what altitude do you think that pigeons can fly to?
Well, I have never, surprisingly enough, I've never thought of that. And to be honest, I wouldn't know like what altitude measure is. I don't have a point of reference for what's a high altitude measure and what's a low one. But I have been reading a little bit about pigeons recently.
No way.
Yeah, well, in a way, but I'm reading a biography of Mike Tyson, and
Mm,
he loves pigeons.
I
I
love
think in New
pigeons.
York they have pigeon lofts, and it's one of the ways he became a fighter. I don't know if you've heard this. So he
Right.
pigeoned. So one of the stories was, I mean, he had horrible upbringing when he was smoking drugs and drinking at 8 year old, and
God.
gangs would send him into houses to nick stuff and all sorts. Anyway, this group of kids, what the tried to nick stuff off him, and he didn't have anything. So they said, right, go up on the roof, and he didn't know if they were going to chuck him off or whatever. And they had a load of pigeons, and this basically told him to clean the shit out and all the rest of it. And he loved doing it. It's like an escape, You're in
Yeah.
Brownsville in Brooklyn, really very deprived area. And he said it's like a different world up there where you're free from everything, and it's just you and the birds. And yeah, and anyway, and his first or in terms of the story tells of his life when he kind of started on the journey to being a fighter, because he was bullied a lot. And he
Mm.
yeah, an older kid came and grabbed one of his pigeons and broke its neck in front of him. And Tyson just went wild, and he just attacked him. And yeah, and he was only, I think, 10 or 11, something very
That's
young.
awful, isn't
Yeah.
it, that?
Yeah, anyway, that's it. Yeah, there, that as put a sour note on your
No, no, it's fine.
question.
Well, no, we like to go off on tangents,
Yeah.
and it's always interesting to know little things. And I really love pigeons. My dad used to have pigeons when I was a kid, and so I spent most of my time as a kid walking around in my just like no shoes on, just walking around the garden. And
Oh yeah.
oh God, there is something I was going to say, but oh, okay, I'll just say it, right? So when I was a kid, right, I used to think it was quite funny to get the pigeon corn, put them between my toes, and the pigeons used to flock around my feet and like peck at them and everything. It was just one of them things I remember as a kid. And I used to go, look, Dad. He'd be looking at me like, what the hell?
Pigeon lady, I like
Um,
that.
no, but I love them, me. And I've got little pigeon earrings as well.
All
But
right.
yeah, I just find them, do you know what? I find them like such lovely, gentle, intelligent creatures.
Yeah.
And it winds me up. I don't often go to the town centre. One of the reasons is I can't bear to see them. Just like the
Yeah.
walking around with toes missing, and I
Yeah.
find that so difficult to see.
Yeah.
And people, oh my God, I won't even say what I was thinking at the time, but there was a group of like kids, and the parents were stood by, and this little girl ran over and started like kicking pigeons, and the parents just stood and laughed, and I was just like,
So,
really? I absolutely cannot stand it. And the fact that they're referred to as flying rats, and people see them as pests, and they shoot them and put like spikes on
yeah.
roofs, and I just find it so cruel and really, it's just awful to see.
And it
I,
is how animals get different labels, and obviously with you keeping rats, and because that's what they say, don't they? That, like you said, that it's
yeah,
like flying rats, call them vermin, and like, but why?
yeah,
What's the difference between that and another? I don't know. I
exactly.
don't get it.
I
And
mean,
it's
it's okay. It's okay for like sparrows to be flying round, magpies to be
yeah,
flying round,
exactly.
and
Yeah, it's weird.
nobody shoots at them. So why are pigeons seen as different? They're still the same sort of animal. They're still
Yeah,
birds. Yeah, they do congregate places, but I mean, you get fined if you feed them in the town and stuff like that. It's
yeah,
terrible. So it's, but yeah, it just I like to do little like read ups on pigeons and stuff
yeah.
sometimes. So
So how
um,
high can I fly then? Right. I'll have a guess.
if you get this right, I'll be like,
Uh, 10,000 feet.
oh no, you didn't get it right.
I didn't think I would.
6,000 feet, and they can
Wasn't that far?
fly, right? Yeah, and they can fly. This fascinated me. 77.6 miles per hour.
Can they?
Yeah. And I'm just like, bloody hell. But do you know what? I can tell you something, right? And I need to get to the bottom of the science of this because to me, as a kid especially, my mind was blown. So my dad had like really good racing pigeons that had like a good bloodline. They were really, well bred, and the babies from them pigeons were good flyers. They had all, my dad had trophies and stuff.
All right.
So what he would do, because pigeons usually mate for life, and so he had like set like couples, pigeon couples,
All right.
and he would let them have eggs. And then another bird that wasn't a very good flyer would have eggs at the same time, and they have two. And so what he'd do is he'd take the eggs away from the bird that wasn't a good flyer,
Yeah.
and he'd put the eggs from the bird that is a good flyer under that one,
All right.
and he'd hatch them out. But sometimes that bird hasn't had eggs yet because he would. I'm probably explaining this in a very difficult way to follow, but so basically, two couples, that one's eggs aren't very good, so you would just get rid of them ones out.
Yeah.
But then this one would have like eggs that were good, so he'd put them under that so that they would have more eggs and he'd
All
have
right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
twice the amount of birds
Yeah.
that were good flyers. But sometimes the good ones have eggs. The birds that weren't as they he couldn't move them yet because they weren't there. So what he would do is he'd get these eggs and put them in a, oh God, I'm really gone like explaining this so bad. He would get two pigeon eggs, right? And he'd put them in some sand in a
Right.
pot. And then every day he'd go into his corn store and he'd turn them over to the other side.
Yeah.
And then he'd go back in the next day and he'd turn them again. So they're in a cold area, in
Yeah.
a dark, cold corn store, in cold sand. And he'd keep turning them every single day. As long as you turned it halfway every day, it was fine.
All right.
And
Okay.
then when that bird had eggs that he didn't want to keep under there, he would then take these eggs that have been turned each day, and it could be 3 weeks they've been getting turned, by the
Yeah.
way. Then he'd put them underneath the bird that doesn't have eggs anymore,
Right.
and they would hatch.
All right. It's
Have I explained that?
well,
Have you understood what I meant?
how how long, right? How long does it take an egg to hatch then from having the eggs? How long does it take them to hatch?
You know what? I don't know actually. That is one thing I can't remember. I'll have to look that one up.
Yeah.
I could be totally wrong, but I'm thinking about 21 days or so.
All right. 'Cause
I don't know if that's right though.
I know there's different type. I remember when the earlier stuff I read about Mike Tyson when he was talking about pigeons, and there's different types. I think there's one called a roller. Uh,
Yeah. You get rollers, which will be like they're called tumblers as well. Sometimes they'll do like a little somersault in the air. You get a lot of them have feathers on the feet as well. They call them a feather foot. Then you can get fantails, which are usually white.
all right. Okay.
Not
Yeah.
always, but they like to have them white because what they do with the fantails is when you've got racing pigeons and they've been on a race,
Yeah.
and sometimes when they come home, they'll circle, or even when you let them out for like an exercise each day, they circle in the circle. But with pigeons, if one comes down, all the rest come down with it.
Right.
But to get that one bird to come down is sometimes pretty difficult. So what you do is you get the fantail because they don't fly like normal pigeons,
Right.
and you kind of like throw it to the like throw it into the air so it flaps its wings.
Yeah. Yeah.
What that does is it causes the pigeons in the air to see it flapping its wings, and they all come down because I think one of them's come down.
All right.
So they're used quite cleverly
Interesting.
like that. And then the racing pigeons are the ones that obviously they're called homing pigeons as well.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. You do see
got like,
I'm live in Ingleby Barwick, and you see people. There's a down the main kind of stretch between Ingleby and the A66. Uh,
mm,
there's a place where you often see, like a weekend, you often see people with pigeons down there. Unloading
mm.
the van with the crates
Oh,
or
the baskets.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
because
see,
what they do as well is they'll put the birds in a basket and they'll drive out to the middle of nowhere, somewhere that pigeon's never been, by the way. This fascinates me
all
as
right,
well.
okay.
Then they open the I mean, we used to go up to like Osmotherley, I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
it
yeah.
was. And our dad would open the baskets up and the birds would all be set free. And by the time we drove back, most of them were home already. And we
It's
were
really
like, what the
impressive,
hell?
Diana.
They've got like an internal, like a GPS where
Yeah.
they know the way home, even if they've never been there.
It's really cool, isn't it? That's one of the things I think's
Yeah.
really like about animals and senses, like, and I suppose it kind of links in with that and what we were talking about in terms of the subjectivity of it, and that,
Mm,
and how we see colors and things like that, and the fact that the way animals perceive and experience the world, obviously, and the way any of us do, it's based
yeah,
on our senses. So that the idea of what's real, it's not a set thing, because
yeah,
I mean a bat, it's all sonar and stuff, and there's that thing where I think we've all wondered at some point whether my red is the same as your red, you know what I mean, whether
yeah.
what I call red you
Yeah.
or whatever.
That
But yeah,
that blows my mind as well to think about that.
yeah, but that's it. We're all I've got obviously glasses on, and but that's it. We're all we filter what we see. I love through our senses, and I love when I learned about the whole thing about optical illusions. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but how your field of vision, you
Yeah.
can't remember the percentage, but what we see, only a certain amount of it is what our eyes are actually seeing. The rest is the brain filling in gaps and
Mm,
predicting. And that's how optical illusions work, is because you're predicting one thing. And so it's designed to kind of disrupt and mess with that. And again, that just it's just mind-boggling how the body works, how every organ,
it
and I suppose that thing, like when you can go back to that producing something, what goes into creating something, it's and from the kind of movements to the ideas to how you express it. I mean, it's amazing, really.
Well, it's the way you can look at it as well and say, like, because of our brains working all so differently and the
Oh, yeah,
different ways that every single person views the world, that's why artists are so unique in what they create.
yeah, yeah,
Do you know what? I must apologize for my very bad way of explaining something previously about the pigeon eggs. To any
right.
viewers, if I've confused you, I'm very sorry.
Oh no, well, if people have got questions, they can drop it in, and you
I
can
mean, my way of telling
clarify
us
any questions. You'll be say before you know it, you're gonna have people contacting you for pigeon advice. You got
well,
yeah.
maybe the way I describe the pigeon advice might be they might need some sort of interpreter to work out what the hell I just said, because I'm still confused about what I just said.
Well, I'm happy to allow you time to explain what you feel you didn't explain well, or if you want to come back with it prepared next week.
Um, well, I mean, I think I said enough, really. It's just basically when a bird has eggs, you can take them away straight away so they don't hatch.
Yeah,
And then you would take the eggs from a different bird and place them underneath that bird, but you can't put them underneath until that one's laid eggs or it won't look after them.
yeah,
It
yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
know you've
yeah,
swapped them, see.
yeah,
So that's why he had to rotate them in this
yeah,
container. But how can you put an egg in the cold for 3 weeks, right? And
yeah,
still
yeah, yeah,
put it under a bird and it hatch?
yeah.
Like blows my mind that. Absolutely does.
Like, did I wonder? I've seen like videos on YouTube and stuff, like reptile
Mhm.
videos. I always find them like quite interesting. There's this guy where I can't remember why he does it, but when he has this, like, the one I remember, this massive, I think it's an albino python, it's python or a boa or something like that,
Yeah.
and he's trying to move the egg because it's just this massive clump of eggs, and he's
Oh
trying to
God.
take them out, and it's attacking him as he's doing it.
Oh
And
God.
but it's not. There's a reason why he's doing it. It's not being cruel. It's a
Yeah.
conservationist, and but you're seeing how fiercely, obviously, the snake protects. And one thing that made, like, I wondered, it's like, I wonder how, like, what you were saying there, would it know, like, it recognize its own, obviously, while it's there, it knows that
Yeah.
but once they're gone, and like, is it, what is it? Is it the scent? Is it the temperature? How do they know is there?
It's a hard one, that one, because if it was like a rat, I think if it had babies, it would know if it was its babies, I'm assuming. I think they'd have a certain sense. But it's like a bird. It's probably well, if my dad could replace the eggs and no one was the wiser.
Well,
You
yeah.
know, they didn't know that they weren't their eggs. So clearly doesn't make a difference, does it, with birds?
I suppose you have that thing with humans, don't you, where babies get mixed up in hospital. You
But
wouldn't,
yeah.
you wouldn't know, would you? I remember
Well,
when. Sorry, I
you'd
was.
I
Sorry,
was
go on.
gonna
You
say
go. You go.
you'd have to go before you take your baby home, you'd have to just smell its head and be like, is this one mine?
Well, I remember when my daughter was born. Like, so I've got two kids, but my daughter was my first, and I remember like the overwhelming sense I had when she was born
Mm,
was it's a weird thing to say, but it's like she was a little stranger that I had to get to know. And I remember one
yeah,
of the first things I thought was like that I couldn't wait to get to know her and see her personality. But it was like, and I think it's almost like I expected to recognize her. You know, that
yeah.
thing that she's kind of part of me, and yeah, and it was like realizing it was this completely independent life that I didn't know.
Mm.
It was yeah, yeah, it was a weird thing really. And then
It's different for women, or at least I feel that a bit differently. I think maybe men and women are just different in that way because with a woman, you've had that time to
yeah,
bond with the baby, even though you don't know what it looks like. And it's all new to you as well. But because it's sort of like it's part of you for all them
yeah, yeah,
months, that it feels like you've already got that instant connection usually
yeah,
anyway. Well, that's how I would perceive it
yeah, yeah,
from me having kids anyway.
yeah. Yeah, no, but that's it. But it's that instinct thing, isn't it? That's it. But it's like I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It sticks with me because it was like, obviously you don't know how you'll feel in that moment, and it's like I was quite surprised because, well, yeah, it was just completely unexpected. But anyway.
Yeah, someone you don't know yet.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it was that, and what it was like, I was really looking forward to getting on. And I remember I couldn't wait till she could talk, so it's like I could start, and then
I used to wonder what the voice is going to sound
yeah,
like
it's
when they
that,
can
yeah,
speak.
yeah, and it's that, yeah, and I suppose that was part of that sense that there's all these things that I'm gonna learn about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, was there anything else? I'm conscious of the time. Was there anything else you'd wanted to discuss? Any pressing questions, quiz questions that I'll have no idea of the answer of?
Um, I was going to mention about being careful on TikTok.
All right.
So do you know when like you've got a notification because somebody's liked your video?
Yeah.
Right. Well, I don't remember it being like this before, so maybe it wasn't I hadn't noticed, or maybe they've updated or something. But the other day I went to because you've got to click on the little square of the video on the right, haven't you, to go to your notification to read their comment.
Yeah.
So I clicked it and all of a sudden it said you have sent something to this person and I thought, what the hell have I just sent them? So I thought, oh bloody hell. So I thought what so I went on it anyway. I then went to my messages and I only sent this random person a love heart. And I was like, oh my God, that's so embarrassing. So then I had to send a message. I felt like I had a spade and I was just digging a bigger bloody hole for myself. I then sent a message and I was like, I'm so sorry. I don't know how I sent that. And then he just sent a laughing emoji back. But I was just like, oh God, like how much trouble could that cause? TikTok trouble causing love hearts. Absolutely. But yeah, so just be careful because when I looked back, where the little square is next to it is actually a love heart. And when I'd gone to press it, I clicked onto that instead.
Yeah, that's not great design, is it?
No, not really.
When you said about being careful of TikTok, I thought you were going to say something about NFTs. I get tons of them.
Oh,
It does my head in.
no. Do you know
Email,
what?
every social media platform. It's a flipping
Yeah.
nightmare.
NFT ones are a nightmare because you just know they're a scam straight away. But
Yeah,
I've been getting some interesting ones. I think most women probably get these on TikTok. I must say TikTok is the place I've had these type of messages the most.
it's not going
And
to
it's
be a
like,
proposal from a retired military
yeah, but
pilot in it from
it's
America.
it's a bit worse. They're like, hi there, sweet darling. I'm Big Ron, Big Daddy Ron here. And I'm like, ugh, what the
My
actual hell?
cover's been blown. Nah,
But I was,
I have to change
it's
my name now.
Big Daddy Ron.
Yeah,
And they're like, do you want to be my sugar baby and all this? And I'll give you all this money. And I'm like, and John's just like, here, I'll be the sugar baby if they want,
yeah.
handing that sort of cash out. But yes, I mean, what I don't get is how is that, how can they scam you doing that? Like, did they ask you for money if they're meant to give you
Will do,
money?
won't they? They'll probably want. I mean, I don't want to give all my strategy away, but
And I'm not asking because I'm, want to reply to these messages. Just out of curiosity, what are they getting from it?
no, there must be, yeah, looking for vulnerable women that they'll probably um ask for money for flights over and promise them the world or something, or but
Yeah, this is
there's
like that.
um or they might give some sob story about medical bills needing paying or need paying or something. But the only reason I know about those ones is because there was a stage
Because you've been sending them.
before I started doing it. There was a stage where on my knockout depression um page there was a couple of posts that
Mm.
reached a lot of people and I got loads. So there was a lot of people commenting and stuff. And it was
Yeah.
a state of loads of them. Like every woman that had made a comment, one of those had
Oh God.
proposition in them. And you're like, bloody hell. And it was really hard to keep up on, like keep up with blocking them
Yeah.
all. And you're like, and I like I'm sorry, like with like social media, like it's quick to tell you of, I don't know, copyright violations or whatever. So you're like,
Yeah. It's true.
you can sort this out. Like,
Mhm.
the technology they've got, you think you could sort this out if you wanted to. It's
Exactly.
really annoying you having to go through, like, just constantly block, 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 block.
Yeah.
Fucking nightmare.
You get them as well where they pretend to be celebrities and like asking you to message them, private message them and all that, and you're just like, oh my God, yeah.
Which
I can't
celebrity
remember.
was that then?
Oh, I had one from Johnny Depp. It was ages ago, that one though. I was like, look, Johnny Depp just followed me, everyone. So Johnny Depp, if you are out there and you do want to follow me, please consider following my page. I won't object.
My claim to fame was I was once poked by Riddick Bowe. It was the former heavyweight champion of the world. Remember Facebook had pokes?
Yes.
A
They
point of
still
that,
do,
do they? All right, I
Yeah,
didn't know that. I
maybe
don't know what
so.
the point of them is, but yeah, I just got a thing. Riddick Big Daddy Bowe has poked you. I'm like, all right, so I poked him back. But it was him. It was him.
Was
I'd
him?
followed his thing for a while because I worked in boxing. I get a
Yeah.
lot of like suggested friends through mutual friends. So I've got connected with a lot of yeah, like famous boxers and um yeah, and he was one of them, and he randomly poked me one night.
Do you think he was scrolling down and thought, I'm going to poke Matthew Williams today?
Well,
Or do you think
yeah, I mean, he did take too many punches to the head, so who knows what was
maybe,
behind it. Oh, you're frozen. You still
maybe
there?
I
Oh,
did.
right.
Oh, yeah. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Uh, maybe Poacher regretted it afterwards. He didn't quite know how to. I really sorry, didn't mean to send that.
Yeah, possibly.
Like on TikTok.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, it could have been an innocent
Then
talk.
he'd have got the shock. He'd have got a shock of his life because you poked him back.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was just testing the water.
what might have been. I didn't pursue it. You know, I'll let that one go. Um, yeah, social media is like it is it is one thing I do like about that, like with the random, how you get these kind of random connections, and it's cool, like on stories where you can see who's looked, and like sometimes
Yeah.
uh I had a spell where the former world snooker champion Cliff Thorburn used to like a lot of not sorry view a lot of my stories.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that hasn't happened for, yeah, I don't know where Cliff's gone. I haven't seen.
I don't see who views my stories on my page.
Oh, I'm on my
Oh,
personal one. I don't know about, no, on your page it just tells you how many, doesn't it? It does.
yes. I wonder if that's why then, so you can only see it. So hang on, the stories, are they public then?
Yeah, but now the other thing that my stories have started doing only recently, and I don't know why this is, but because it used to say, show people who were your friends on Facebook, it'd show you, and then it'd have a
Yeah.
number saying like five, non-followers or whatever. But
All right.
now it shows me on my personal Facebook people who I'm not connected with who have looked at my story. And it's usually, to be honest, a lot of it is art through art groups I'm in, whether it be yours or
Yeah.
some portrait groups I'm in on Facebook. So be people have seen one thing I put, and then they look to see your work. Um, but yeah, I don't know if that's a new thing, or because I've had a thing like recently, and I know you see this with your Facebook, where it'll say you've been posting good content, so it's gonna show it to more people. Or so I don't know if there's
Yeah.
different levels you go to when it, I don't know, gives you different
Well, the
feeds
thing is levels.
or whatever.
It does something like I don't know what the levels are. I just will get like a notification one day and say you've reached level 3, and I'm like, oh, that's nice. How the hell did I do that?
Yeah.
But apparently it's something to do with how many followers you've gained in that week and how
All right.
many posts you've posted and how many reels you've posted and stuff like that. But you
Yeah.
know what? I seen something that an artist posted the other day and I actually thought it was quite interesting. And I never thought of it from that point of view before. So she said that her page, the people who follow her on her page, them people want to be there because they like her artwork. So
Yeah.
they follow her to see her content.
Yeah.
But Facebook is suggesting her page to people who don't really like art, who don't really, follow art pages and they're not interested in that sort of stuff. And then what's happening is it's creating lots of people going to her page to slag off her work. And you
Really?
just think, yeah, because it's showing random people your artwork. It's popping up on people's like
That's weird.
newsfeed. And so people who wouldn't usually follow you have got no interest in seeing artwork and now seeing it because you're getting suggested for them.
That's
So
weird.
in a way, it's a good thing to have because you know new people find your page. But what she was saying, which I found quite interesting, was that it's also it takes another spin on it because it invites people to give you more hate because
Yeah.
they don't really like art. And I thought that's quite interesting point.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? How like the algorithms work and stuff. Like I know, um, like one of the things I've seen around my kind of business stuff where it says about being conscious what you put, because sometimes you might go viral with something. So I guess it's like, right, so but you know what you said about the toilet one in Redcar. If
Yeah.
if you suddenly get loads of followers off the back of something
Mm,
that is different to what you'd normally do, it can confuse the algorithm because
yeah.
it's think because people are liking you for something other than what you want them to like you for, if that makes sense. But I don't know, you can overthink these things, can't you? I always just come back to, well, just be yourself and just
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Always be yourself.
find
And
it.
that's what's good about this podcast as well, is we just
Yeah,
be
yeah.
ourselves and share the things that we want to discuss, and then we throw a few other things into. Uh, toilet one blew me away because I just thought a bloody toilet, right? A bloody toilet got more likes and shares and views than any of like what I would think would be like my best work
Yeah, it's
that I've
weird,
ever
isn't
done. I was at a bloody toilet getting more attention than my painting. That I spent hours painting, do you know? And in the toilet took me a few seconds just to snap a pic. Not that I'm going in toilets and taking photos. I will just
Yeah, I
put
was
that out
gonna say,
there.
yeah, that could lead to all kinds of problems with the law.
I
Uh,
mean,
I
there
just,
is a lot of photographs of me in toilets though. So my background, my history isn't very yeah, it's not looking good.
I won't comment, but yeah, no, I think that is it something to do with like the lighting's good in bathrooms or something. I think because
Well,
you see a lot of selfies from bathrooms, don't you?
I think a lot of people take selfies in bathrooms because there tends to be like a nice mirror in there.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I don't have a nice mirror in my bathroom. It's like this little tiny circle one. But mine are only in bathrooms a lot. Well, not bathrooms, but toilets, is because that's where I tend to be when I'm drunk.
Well, yeah, fair enough. I
So you find yourself in there.
one of the strangest things, again, another completely random thing, but one of the strangest things. So when I worked for England Boxing, I worked there like 11 years, and you'd get all kinds of emails from all kinds of people, and now and again you'd get one from someone that wanted to be on the Olympic squad. Um, and it's like, like people that never boxed before, or they'd watched a fight on telly, or they'd had a ruck in a pub or whatever, and they've decided they're going to box in the next Olympics. And you're like, it don't really work like that. It's like you don't have a kick about with your kids and then phone, the FA and say you're free for the World Cup next summer. But you would literally get that. Yeah, yeah, there was someone, I remember there was one that had watched Anthony Joshua boxing and he said, and I've got bigger muscles than him and I reckon I could beat him. Never boxed before. He was in his 40s. You're like, mate, like what are you doing? But this one particular one, someone basically sent me an email saying he wanted to, he deserved a trial. He reckons he could get in the Great Britain squad. And he sent a photo, like a selfie of him with his shirt off, posing in front of the bathroom mirror. I'm like, what do you expect me
He
to do?
wasn't.
I'm going to go to the
He wasn't.
performance director. It's like, yeah, excuse me, hate to interrupt, but, like, check him out. Like, I think you need to put him in the squad. Like, what on earth are you thinking? Like, weird. But yeah, it was always a good laugh. You'd just get the most random, funny, yeah, funny
I
thing.
was going to say when you said he sent a selfie in the mirror with his muscles out, I was going to say he wasn't called Big Daddy Ron, was he?
Yeah, it might be. It could have been, yeah. But
I
you
thought
you
of it.
you would actually get, but you would get that remind me, we would get kind of scammer things. You'd often get
Oh, God.
people from like various random countries who wanted you to pay for them to basically come and stay in your house and you look after them while they're trained. It was like, what?
Oh my God. Yeah, just come on over and just live with me. We'll be best friends for a while I train you.
Suppose it's that thing like every either industry or wherever you have particular scams, like say art, it's like that NFT thing. You
Oh
just
God.
get you think where are you getting your details from and
Yeah.
then email on all the social
You
media.
ne you never know what to believe with the art ones. You never know if it's an opportunity or if someone's
Yeah,
trying
I
to take
know,
your
yeah.
commission.
Yeah,
It's a hard one, that. There's so many, and I think art's probably one of the biggest ones as well. But well, from what I'm assuming, so.
yeah,
But then
yeah.
people who are messaging you asking like, "Can I come and be in the Olympics?" It's like I applaud their confidence.
Well, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
don't ask, you don't
Well,
get.
that's true. That's true. But yeah, there is also that thing. It takes a little bit of talent and hard work as well. But
Well, of course, yeah. You can't just step into something. You've got to work hard for it, haven't you?
yeah, but I think the thing with I don't know with boxing, I suppose it's maybe a bit like football as well, but like loads of people think they can do it when they can't. There's just something about I think certain blokes who just think, and I think that people often see boxing just as fighting. They don't realize the skill that's involved. But yeah, that it was always you just that
You
was
have
one of
to
the
have a
things that
certain mindset, wouldn't you? You would have to have a
yeah,
mindset
yeah.
of a certain kind to be able to do that.
It was one of the things I loved about working there. It's like you would just get the most. There was never a dull. never a dull moment. You just get the most random, like, yeah, requests, and uh, yeah, it was yeah, eye-opening. Right. I'm conscious of the time. It's 5 to 3.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I've got some work I need to get done. So I'll have to wrap it up there, I'm afraid, unless there's any final words that you want to
I
leave
can't think of
with,
any, and that's very,
inspiration
very.
to take into the weekend.
Maybe if anybody has any suggestions on, is there anything you'd like us to discuss or talk about? Because we've been a little bit on and off, haven't we, with it at the moment because of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
holidays, and
going
then
on, yeah.
yeah, we've had stuff going on, so we've been a little bit more slow really at doing them, haven't we? So we haven't got the any questions being asked from the
Yeah, yeah.
last one. Um, so yeah, if anybody would like to, I don't know, ask a few questions, if there's out there'd like us to talk about, or if there's anything you'd like us to answer,
Yeah.
then yeah, that would be brilliant. So
I think
yeah,
I'd be interested in any feedback on that the thing we're talking about with that kind of advice, and either solicited or unsolicited, whether people have found it helpful,
yes.
not helpful, um,
Or
how open and
maybe any
amenable
of those.
people are to feedback, as opposed to me just being pig-headed and doing things my own way. But yeah,
Well,
I'd be interested
if,
in how people have found that.
if anybody would like to share their personal experiences as
Yeah,
well, we could
yeah,
maybe talk about that too. If they want to let us know something that's happened, a comment they may have received, and how it's affected them as well. That would
yeah,
be
yeah,
maybe interesting
definitely.
to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. And also pieces of pieces of work that somewhat people have done that they used to think they used to love and now they don't anymore.
Yeah, well, that would also be a good one. And the last thing I will say before we go is if anybody out there is feeling like, there's a small part of their heart that they need to fill. Our giant African land snails had hundreds of babies the other day. And if you feel that somewhere in your life you could give a snail the most beautiful, loving home, then message me and let me know.
I have to say, when I asked how many, I thought you'd say maybe about 6 or 7. When you said about 100 and odd, bloody hell!
Yeah, well, you're supposed to remove the eggs so that you don't. I mean, if you left the eggs in, you'd end up with thousands of snails.
Heck.
And
You hear that, and it makes you wonder why, like, snails haven't taken over the world. If they're that
well, when the
prolific and
babies
virile.
don't all survive, that's the problem. So you get a lot of like runts and things like that, and they end up not surviving. So they have lots of babies to
What did that eat each
make sure
other?
some of them do.
Do they kill each other, like, or they're just not
No,
hardy enough to
no,
survive?
they don't kill each other. I think what they do though is they tend to, if you don't, because you've got to put like a cuttlefish in with them, so it helps their growth for their shells. And sometimes they can actually suck the calcium out of each other's shells if you don't have that in. So it's always important to. You can even give them like broken egg shells and things like that too.
All right. So my question on that. So when you said if anyone's got a nice home to give to a snail or 10, so what is a nice home for a snail? What would you need to
So
for a nice home for a snail?
So you can keep them in a tank. What is actually works better than a tank, and the reason it does is because it keeps in the humidity, keeps in the dampness, is like a see-through, like a storage container that you
Yeah.
put your stuff in. A see-through storage container with a lid that fits tightly, and you just put some air holes in all
Yeah.
the way around. We buy this coconut soil, so it's not actual soil that you'd get from the garden. You get this I'd say you get it in like a brick form, looks like a brick of soil,
All right. Okay.
and
Yeah.
you put it in for them and you spray them daily. You make sure the soil's moist, keep
Yeah.
spraying them. They eat all sorts of things. They're very easy to keep, really. I mean, I always eat vegetables, they eat fruit. They like to have like the cuttlefish. They like what we do give them as well as like fish food. And you
Right.
can drop flakes and spray and eat it, or you can actually mix it with a tiny bit of water so it makes like this mush, and they love it.
All
But
right.
they literally eat everything, like anything that you can think of, they eat. And They grow really fast. They're
Right.
brilliant pets for kids. They're
And how big do
interesting
they
to
grow?
watch.
How big do they grow?
Like the shells can be like that big,
So yeah,
like pretty big.
they're not
They
like
are big. And
snails.
I will add as well that they say you recommend putting a heat mat in the winter, but because our house is always warm, we've never had to do that, so we don't use the heat mat for ours.
You have to play with them and keep them entertained, or they'll.
No, not really. I mean, they can come out, they can go on your hand. As soon as you spray them, they're out with the shells and they're looking around. They have got little personalities. It's so weird. Like,
How does a snail
so,
express personality? No, that's it.
so,
This is really interesting. Go on.
so one of ours is quite shy.
Right,
Doesn't always come out as much as the other one. They're very inquisitive.
right.
So when you spray them with the water and they know you're there, they come out and like they look up at you and then they stretch out of the shells and the little eyes are like and they just look at you. And if you hold them on your hand, if you hold them on your hand, they tend to like lean towards your face. So they're like it's like they're looking at you and working out who you are. Mm.
All right.
And did you know as well that pigeons recognize faces?
No, I didn't know that.
So if you
Really?
went to the town and kicked a pigeon, that pigeon would know it was you
Really?
forever. Yeah, apparently, yeah.
That's
It was
impressive.
on a pigeon fact I read. But that interested me.
Yeah, that's impressive. But presumably, you'd have to. It wouldn't just remember every face it saw. It'd have to. There'd have to be
Well,
some
apparently,
significance to make it remember you.
I think if it was like someone taking care of it, they'd recognise the owner. But if it was something that's happened, and apparently they can, this is what I read anyway. So if this its source is wrong, it's not my fault. But they recognise you. So say you kicked a pigeon, that recognise you, and it can also tell its young what you look like so that they also know you as well. That's what I read.
Hey.
And I was like, yeah, how bloody bizarre is that if that's true? Like I'm gonna have to read more up about that, but
Yeah. For some reason, it's made
apparently
me think of the Terminator. I was imagining, and it scans people and stuff. I've got this image of this Terminator pigeon
I
class.
would like to know if this is true, right? How does it tell its babies what you look like? Imagine the description it would give. I saw this girl walking down, the scraggy curly hair.
Must be like an airdrop thing, like in your phone, it must airdrop it from their brains to the offspring. Because yeah, that is
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
that
very
yeah,
bizarre.
you are gonna have to research that. I need to know the answer to that one.
I know I will.
Maybe
I'll
it draws a
research it and
picture.
we'll discuss it.
Maybe they're good portrait artists.
I'm
Maybe
just
there's a gallery of ourselves, like a pigeon, like wanted things, like when I was on Pub Watch, where it's all the people aren't allowed in pubs, like where the pigeons have this thing of all the people that they've got vendettas against.
yeah, the like a pigeon walk of shame.
Yeah, like the sketch suspect sketches. What are they called? What?
Um, a not a mugshot. I know what you mean.
Yeah, where
Can't think of the word.
back in the day used to do the artist sketch, didn't
Yeah,
they? Yeah, yeah. Maybe there's a pigeon that does that.
the pigeon out there with some thumbs, sketching away.
Yeah. So, right. Well, on that, yeah, on that, don't have nightmares, kids. We've been, yeah, snails, pigeons with thumbs, uh, Terminator pigeons. Yeah, there's been all sorts there.
Yeah,
Um,
we've covered a few areas today, haven't we?
yeah, we have. Unsurprisingly to any listeners, most of it wasn't planned. Like you're
Yeah,
surprised to hear. But yeah, no, it's been fun as always, Nat. And
yes,
yeah,
it has.
like, just encourage it again. Any kind of comments, questions, always good to have their people's ideas for things that we
Yeah,
can discuss and to answer questions and stuff. I always enjoy doing that. So yeah.
yeah. Thank you for joining us. If anyone's watching, and if you do like what we do, feel free to subscribe or like our video.
Exactly. Yeah, please do. And we want yeah, and if you do, you get a free snail off Nat.
Yes,
No, no, no,
snails
that's
galore.
yeah, that's a joke. Right, okay.
I
Thank you.
imagine I'll be inundated with snail requests now, Matthew. Thank you.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Have a good weekend, everyone, and speak soon.
Yep, speak soon. Bye.